Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Insidious The Red Door. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. This is the fifth Insidious movie, a series that started all the way back in 2011 with this thing right here. It was a very, very low budget horror movie. It only cost like 1.5 million, and it was directed by one James Wan, who is responsible for not only the Saw movies, or at least the first Saw movie, but also the Conjuring series. And fun fact, Saw, Insidious, Conjuring, they're all getting new installments this year, which is the strangest coincidence ever. I don't know. I don't know how that happened, but it just did. Yeah, Insidious was like his second horror franchise. And when this movie came out, it had a pretty decent reception. It opened pretty well. Opened with like 13 million. It had really good legs for the genre. And it ended up making almost 100 million worldwide on a budget of 1.5 million. That was a nice profit. So I guess Jason Blum, who was producing this, I guess he thought to himself, you know what? We could do more with this. We can take this further. We can make a franchise out of this. And that's exactly what he did. Because 2 years later, you have Insidious Chapter 2, which, did way better than the first movie thanks to the good old sequel effect where the success of the first movie, critically and commercially, really helped the second movie. And sure, Insidious Chapter Two's reception-wise, wasn't as good, but it didn't matter because it opened with like $40 million. It's like over 3 times as much as the first movie. Sure, its legs were abysmal, but it didn't matter. Made 83 million domestic, 161 million worldwide on a budget of like 5 million. That's fantastic. So naturally, you keep going. Enter Insidious Chapter 3, which wasn't a sequel, but a prequel. And although it made quite a bit less than the second movie, still did well for itself. Opened like 22.6 million, made like 52 million domestic, 120 million worldwide on a budget of 10 million. So, decent amount of cash. But, I guess a decent amount of people were like, okay, I think it's time we stop. Like, what else can we really do with this? And then Jason Blum and all the people around Insidious, they said, no, we must keep going. Enter The Last Key, Insidious 4, which came out in January of 2018. So I thought for sure this movie was gonna be the worst performing one of the series. I thought it would be like what 30, 40 million max. It opened with 29 million. It completely spit in the face of all logic by not only opening super well, but actually becoming the biggest movie in the whole series worldwide, second domestically, but the biggest worldwide, which is really strange. So it's just, I don't know how this happened. I guess people just really liked Lynn Shane's character because she was like she was important throughout like the first four Insidious movies, and this is mostly about her. So I guess people wanted to see it, or people were just bored. People needed to see something that wasn't Jumanji or Star Wars or Greatest Showman in early 2018. They needed something else, and this was something else. So that was Last Key, and then 5 years later, here we are with The Red Door. So yeah, the Insidious movies, they definitely have a long history of success, definitely financial success. Maybe not, quality wise, maybe not critical success, but that rarely matters when it comes to horror. So yeah, the Insidious movies have made money in the past, quite a bit of money. It's a very healthy franchise financially. So I'm labeling that as a pro. The success of the previous four Insidious movies. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, there's no direct competition for this movie at all. I mean, what is there? The Blackening? I don't think that counts. That's a more of a horror comedy. That leans way more towards comedy and horror. This is straight up horror. We haven't had a straight up horror movie since The Boogeyman, which came out like last month. And there won't be another horror movie in the market until, what is it? Talk to Me? I think that's what it's called, but that's like late July. So, yeah, I think it's Talk to Me. Yes, it is Talk to Me. So, yeah, won't be any horror movies until then. So, horror movie fans, they only have this for now. And when it comes to all the other movies, I mean, like direct competition is non-existent, so that's a pro. Another pro is that the box office is just weak, like super weak in general. Like there's a lot of negativity going on with these movies. I mean, we all know what happened with Transformers and Elemental and The Flash and Indiana Jones, all flopping one after another. Uh, and then Ruby Gillman, forget that. That movie's gonna be gone in like a few weeks at the rate it's going. Um, I mean, Across the Spider Verse is still doing well, but that movie's a month old at this point. It's old news. I mean, sure there is this Sound of Freedom, which came out of thin air and is doing quite well for itself, but I don't think it's gonna, have much of an effect on Insidious. So, yeah, when it comes to overall competition, it's not good, which really helps this movie. So, I'm not labeling overall weak competition. I'm labeling that as a pro. Trying to think of some other pros. Are there any other pros? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, con. Oh no, Thursday preview. How could I forget? Thursday preview. I thought it would reach like 3 million max. It did 5 million, which shocked me. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! Is this a typo? What's going on here? But yeah, it did hit 5 million in previews, which like is really, really good for a horror movie. I mean, compared to say, let's pick another Insidious movie. Insidious, Last Key. Let's use that because that was the last Insidious movie. That had a Thursday preview of almost 2 million. So this is like 2.5 times that much. Um, I guess there's Insidious Chapter 3, which also opened in summer. So that's comparable because Insidious 1, 2, 4, they did not open in summer. Insidious 3 did. So it's a little more comparable. That a Thursday preview of 1.6 million. So Red Door is like over 3 times bigger than that. And compared to other horror movies that have come out this year, say Scream 6. Which is the biggest horror movie. Scream 6. That a Thursday preview of 5.7. So it's not far off from that. And that opened with like 44 million. And then say another one. Evil Dead Rise. Sure. Let's go with that. Evil Dead Rise. How did that do? 2.5 million. So this is double of Evil Dead Rise, and that opened with like 24 million. Okay, what else is there? Megan? Sure. Let's go with Megan. Megan. That had a Thursday preview of 2.75. So compared to a lot of these movies, like it's looking good, like really good for Insidious: The Red Door. Because 5 million, that's nothing to sneeze at for a horror movie. So yeah, Thursday previews are great, and I'm labeling that as a pro, definitely. But now have to go to the cons, and there's quite a few cons. The first con is that quality wise, it's not looking good for this movie. It has a score of 38% from a critic score and a 72% from an audience score, which neither of those are good at all. Like ideally for an audience score that needs to be like high, like in the 90s or something. When it's like in the 70s, that's a sign that a decent amount of people who watched the movie didn't like it. And apparently there's a lot of like negative discourse around the movie too. I remember like seeing like the title of an article saying like the movie feels like it was filmed in a garbage disposal. um, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah, that's not exactly the type of headlines you want to have. So yeah, I don't know the cinema score for this. I don't think it's out. I could check. Let me see. Is it there? Is it there? Oh, it no, it's not there. I imagine it's in the C. It has to be a C. It has to be a C. I can't imagine this being any higher than that. Wait, according to Cinema Score, the other Insidious 1 got a B, Chapter 2 and 3 got B pluses, and Lasky got a B minus. I really thought those were C's with their B's, which is actually above average for the genre. So maybe this is probably gonna get a B minus if we're looking like at the other Insidious movies. So that wouldn't be too bad. It wouldn't be fatal, but it wouldn't exactly help the movie. So yeah, it scores. Critic and audience scores. I would label those as a con. Another con is that I don't know. This movie could really suffer from just. I know this term gets overused a lot, but I can't help but feel like this is franchise fatigue. This really feels like franchise fatigue. It feels like this series has reached a point where you're just like, okay, why is this? Why are we doing this? Why are we? Why is this series keep going? Why can't you just stop? Like there's plenty of series that have that, that reached that point. I mean, I've pretty much seen it with Transformers. I've seen it with Indiana Jones, both of which happened last month. Where both of those movies, I'm just like, why do you insist on continuing this? You could have stopped a long time ago, and everyone would have been happy. But no, the story must go on for some reason. And we're Insidious. It just feels like that. And from what I've heard, it just feels like more of the same. With diminished returns. So yeah, I'd say just franchise fatigue for Insidious 5. I'm gonna label that as a con. Uh, any other cons? I guess sure. Like competition right now is weak, but it's gonna heat up real soon in like 2 weeks. Actually, next Wednesday, we got Mission Possible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is blowing up with reviews. It scores at 99%, which is insane. And if that movie isn't a hit, then something is seriously wrong with the industry right now. But yeah, I feel like Mission Possible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 is guaranteed to be a smash. And then not only that, the week after that, you got Barbie and Oppenheimer, which are also expected to do really well. So those three movies are going to negatively affect this one, pretty much every other movie that's out right now. So dealing with those three movies, that's a con, definitely. Trying to think of some other cons. I think I mentioned like the main ones. I think that's it. I guess I could just mention like just the negative energy the box office has right now. Like it's been real negative. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like like a few weeks ago, it looks like we were on the right track. I mean, we had Across the Spider-Verse do amazing. And then after that everything just fell off so hard. And now we've reached a point of like box office depression that just may come to an end next week. but we're still in the depression phase right now when it comes to the box office. So I'm gonna label that as a pro, as a con, definitely. Just depressed box office. And I think that's it. So opening weekend, I thought this would hit like the low 20s initially, but this preview number tells me it's going to hit higher than that. I don't know how much higher. I imagine this is going to be pretty front loaded because, this being a the fifth movie in this series, obviously the diehard fans are going to show up first, and then everyone else is just going to maybe show up and then just abandon the movie. They're not gonna show up for like repeat viewings or anything. But yeah, compared to other movies, other horror movies, like say Megan, this could hit Megan numbers realistically. Yeah, Megan. That opened with 30 million. I think Insidious The Red Door could hit that if it's not brutally front loaded. I think it could hit that. Maybe. But I'm gonna go 25 to 30 million just to be safe. Which would be a very strong result for Insidious The Red Door. It only costs like $16 million, so it won't take a whole lot for it to make a profit. Yes, yes. So 25 to 30 million opening weekend is total. Ooh. 60 million max. That's as high as I'm willing to go. 60 million. So, and that's it. So that's Insidious The Red Door. We got one more movie to talk about, and that's Joyride. I know some of you were like, what about Sound of Freedom? Well, that opened on 4th of July on a Tuesday. It was weird. I'll cover that movie when I do my July recap next month, okay? I'll talk about it then. But for this weekend, all I have to do is Joyride, and then that'll be it. So, yeah. So, anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage. All previous prediction videos I made this year or any other years. You want to watch any of those? Go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I've covered Insidious The Red Door once, and that was episode 140 when it got its date. It's July 7th date. Initially, I thought like another big movie would come out and it would be like counter programming to that, and that never happened. Insidious The Red Door was the main movie. But yeah, with episode 140, I talked about Insidious 5, 65, Man Called Otto, Madam Web, and that's apparently like in the description I mentioned the George Foreman, like the big George Foreman biopic, and the Pope's Exorcist. But yeah, I covered all those movies episode 140. Then, and that's pretty much it with that. I've now made 196. Yes, 196 episodes of Cancel. So you want to watch any of the past Cancel episodes I've made on the channel, you want to watch them all from beginning to now, you want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. June recap will come out next week. There will be a lot to discuss. It's going to be 80 to 90% negative in tone, so I'm just going to warn you in advance. But yeah, stay tuned for that video. And then July recap, that won't come out till the second week of July, like after Mutant Mayhem and the Meg 2 come out. Because I want to give like the late July movies, I want to give them at least 2 weekends before I properly judge them. So, yeah. Stay tuned for that as well. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.